all I have going through my head right now is, ugh, just unbelievable. But, of course, I have to believe it because the evidence is just thrown in front of my face at a steady pace nowadays. A little while ago, I had mentioned in the video, that next I'll be looking out for the two witnesses in the book of Revelation. And I happened to come across some information about what the two witnesses could be. In between then and now, I had read the book of Enoch, and in it, God himself said Enoch was brought up to heaven to be a witness. A witness to what? The evils of the day before Noah? How the angels were mixing with humanity and producing offspring? Because later we're told that it would be like the days of Noah before the flood. So we would be seeing the mixing of human and alien demons genetically, and it just slipped my mind. There was another thing. Oh, people would just be going about their business. Marrying and being given in marriage. Like, you'll see it, Christian channels, Christian singles. They're all like, oh, I need a woman of God. Oh, I need a man of God. And it's like, are you freaking kidding me right now? And spiritually, there's just so much coming to light that I'm not gonna be looking for somebody to know it all, because it all hasn't been revealed yet. So why would I want somebody who knows as little as I do to come between me and inspiration? Why would I be looking for that? It'd be nice to not be responsible for it. I mean, if somebody had more information for me, great, they could nullify any commitment I made to inappropriate information. But anyways, so I had read that Enoch is a witness. That's why Enoch was brought up to heaven. And so I'm thinking about these two witnesses, and I'm thinking, might have something to do with that, I don't know. But I was watching a video that explained the principles behind how to determine what those two olive trees and those two menorahs were. And it comes down to the olive trees would be Israel, and the set aside ones who even came from the Gentiles. So the video comes to a different conclusion, but the principle is there. So the witnesses would be the law and the prophets and that which came before, perhaps even Enoch, the spirit of Enoch expressing itself in people. Because the two witnesses does not have to be a person, like two people. Yeshua himself, Yahushua, said that his works, his Father's works, and I have it written down. Anyways, he said those things witness about him. His works, the works of the Father, and the scriptures, they testify on his behalf. So, it could be the Torah and the so-called New Testament, these two witnesses. And in Jerusalem, these two groups of people could be over there doing great works, prophesying, testifying against the building of this temple. Oh, and that's another thing. So, it's going around about all the mutations, the mutated bodies. I'll get back to that. It's going on about the Ark of the Covenant, that they remote viewed it. It's being guarded by spirits. It's not going to be revealed until the appropriate time. And that they heard people, could be spirits, who knows, talking about or speaking in Arabic sounding language. But when you go to the book of Revelation, it says that the Ark of the Covenant is in heaven. Alright, if God can haul a man up to heaven without dying, he can bring the Ark up there too. And, you know, if angels are talking to human spirits, which from experience, from revelation given to me, our spirits do have access to heaven. And God teaches us while we're sleeping in our dream state. So, you know, where's he doing that? I've woken up and I have very clearly been sitting in a classroom being taught. So, and I have on the edge of sleep and everything, and it woken up from dreams where I have been in the assembly in heaven. So, they could be speaking what would sound like an Aramaic language, such as Hebrew, in heaven where the Ark of the Covenant is. And New Jerusalem is supposed to come down from heaven. So, it just makes sense. But yeah, pre-flood, the genetic mutations, they weren't all giants. And we see like humanoid creatures like the cavemen, Neanderthals, that's what they call them, that mixed with human beings, modern human beings. And then we have really, really hobbit-like people and deformed skulled people and all of that. And we have reports of alien abductions, taking genetic material to produce alien children. We have testimonies of genetic experiments being done on people and mating with demons and stuff like that. So it's just, the profound thing is that we are raised where, like, the gods of Egypt, those are old things, old stories. They were false gods, they were fake. So the people were just play acting, is kind of the nature of what their worship was. It was pretend. It wasn't like effective. It didn't produce anything. It was just something that they did. Like, I'm gonna turn off the lights now. Oh, woo, look, you know. It was that God, this one, that one, that turned off the lights on you. They put your hands over the child's eyes, like. And it was so easy as a child to mistake or to get the impression or the fear of, you know, parents being godlike because, or adults being godlike, because you'd go someplace and these absolute strangers would know your name, like school. You just put on a bus and you go, and somebody looks and you say, oh, it's you. And they say your name and you're like, who is this person? How did they know my name? Well, our parents had called ahead of time. You know, called maybe a daycare or something, and you're walking in, they already know all the other kids, you're the only new kid coming in, so you therefore are your name, you know, they identify you by your name. And so that's why when my kids were little, I always tell them, now I called ahead of time, so this is why these people know your name. And that way there, my kids didn't think like these people had special powers and didn't need to be afraid of them. I mean, I was scared to death about my mother because, unbeknownst to me, she would talk to everybody about everything and tell everybody everything about me. Even the things she would tell me not to tell people, she would go tell people. So, anyways, like, there is no magic, there is no mystery, there is no miracle in our scientific world and the churches of Christendom. And even, and by the way, the word church comes from the word circus. That is why people who are not a part of these circuses, the circus atmosphere in these so-called churches, prefer to call themselves ecclesias, or, well, I wrote that down too somewhere. But that was the word, or what it means is set apart people, the set apart congregations, the set apart assemblies. Oh, so much we don't, like, I feel like such an ignorant child. Like, Oberon Zell has this poem called We Are the Other People, and how the first book of Genesis, chapter in Genesis, is a different creation account than the second one. So in the first one, the Elohim, plural, come down to earth, and even one Bible interpreted, the sons of God in the morning stars came and, you know, created man in their image, male and female, created them. And then this other God, one of the Elohim, created his person in his likeness. And that's where the Adam and Eve story comes from. It's just one isolated story of one God amongst the many who did this. But no, in the book of Jubilees, which is conveniently not considered part of the Bible by so many circuses. Wasn't that the saying in Rome? Give them bread and circuses and they'll be happy. It's been said religion is the opium of the people. They aren't kidding. This is all literal stuff that's happening. But no, that's just a Disney movie. So yeah, still working on the two witnesses thing. And those of us out here may not even get to see it because our news channels are controlled, and now they're even seducing YouTubers who and TikTokers are all a part of the descendant programs of MK Ultra and all of them. If there were two literal people in Jerusalem right now prophesying and causing these red waters to flow in various places and all of that, we wouldn't get it up. We wouldn't know until after it happened and all the resurrection took place, and we're in the first 1,000 years of Yahushua's reign. Because, we're not there. And Jerusalem, as it stands now, is called Sodom and Egypt. And New Jerusalem, when it comes down from heaven, isn't necessarily going to land there in the Middle East. And you'll see if you click onto the link that I'll put below to the video about the two witnesses in the Philippines and it's by Turkey. I don't want to say it because I'll say it wrong. There's just all these new languages and new words and new pronunciations. My brain's going, yeah, it'll come out in the wash, babe. It'll come out in the wash. But yes, overwhelming information proving everything that I've been taught, everything that I thought I knew, is just a lie. We can be coming out of everywhere. Like, everywhere but the mainstream churches. And to find out, the people who are called Jews are not Israelites, that synagogues were never a part of the law, that these were just offshoots, basically modern day churches. Really, people? Really? You had to make it this hard for me. But God allowed it. That way there. It would just be so... There's just no arguing. There's just... The contrast is just so wonderfully great. So amazingly apparent that there is no mistake. No mistake at all. Very clear. That divide is very, very clear. And I realized today, I have always wanted to look into, like, renouncing my social security number and all of that. But they're bringing out this real ID, which makes all other forms of identification invalid. And so I'll be free of all that enslavement that my parents put me under without doing any freaking work. Because frankly, even a name change, I wouldn't go to the government and say, hey, will you please approve this name change? Will you please acknowledge it? No. Not if I don't want to be subject to them. So, if they're going to nullify, void, and cancel my enslavement for me, I'll take it. I will take it. I will gladly flee out of Egypt. Gladly. And wouldn't it be just like God to put it in their greedy little heads to think that they had that much authority, that much influence, and that much power over all of us, that they could just do that? Show me your ID. Ain't got a real ID, sorry. That works for me. Let their greed and arrogance do the work for us. For sure, for sure. Don't forget, don't say amen, because that's from Amun-Ra. And you know what? Even when I was watching, there's the YouTube channel, the Astral something or other, but it's all the stories of all the various kinds of aliens, all the different species and where they come from and their histories and stuff like that. And even there, the Anunnaki, which there is a group of people called the Enoch in the Bible. And they were of the Nephilim. Oh, see, we just 2 and 2, 2 and 2. 1 plus 1. So even they, as part of their histories, when they would come and they would perform genetic experiments and create a slave race, they would annihilate them. Hello, reset. These resets. And then, when it came to the modern human beings, one of their prophets said that the creator that they acknowledge, that they have to obey no matter what, told them they could not destroy that batch that they had done, that last batch. And so they left all angry and whatnot. But they couldn't destroy that batch. And that means that they do have to obey. That's far out. Because even if that's the story that they tell people who want nothing to do with the Bible, who don't believe in, Scripture and the law, the story, their story validates the Scriptures. How about that? So they can call themselves aliens all they want, but it turns out they've been trapped in the earth and under the ocean right here with us, letting themselves be turned into stories and folklore and stuff like that. Like the Celtic culture and the Fae people would talk about the changelings. Like, it looked like their child, but that wasn't their child. And so their child got swapped for a fairy child. Well, the Bible does talk about those who keep souls and spirits in jars, who separate spirits and souls and put them from body to body. So the changeling, yeah, their child's spirit or their child's soul was held captive so that it could be inhabited, the body could be inhabited by one of theirs. Or shoot somebody else's. They just mix them and match them up now. I'm telling you, just Franken people, I tell you. Like, if I hadn't learned that, I wouldn't have said the prayers, because a part of me had, because I had the dissociative identity disorder, but I learned through watching like Nathan Reynolds and other people going through the prayers about and renouncing all of the family contracts and all of that, and then learning that the Lord's Prayer in Aramaic included a verse that says, I keep that one close because that was really la 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 la. It's worth it. Yes, create in me a divine cooperation from many selves, one voice, one action. Because what they do when they traumatize you is they cause a separation, and it is our nature, like, to create another aspect of ourselves. So we could have one part of ourselves that gets all baptized and happy and pure, while that other part is there like, yeah, well, this happened in God's name, so you can be all saved and baptized and a little sweetheart of the congregation all you want, but I'll tell you what, a little bit of pain, a little bit of stress, and guess who's coming out? Anything but little miss saved. So that's how that works. Create within those of us who may have had split spirited spirits and stuff like that, one, and It works. It works. But they do that stuff. It's all real. And they don't tell us it's real. Oh, I had a near-death experience. Those are awfully popular these days. Nobody had near-death experiences when I was young. Oh, no. Now it's like all the rage. Everybody's having them. And they come back changed from these near-death experiences. Being told, oh, I agreed to all of this. It was in my contracts. Yada, yada, yada. So, dang it on, why doesn't... So that it would be clear, so God's case would be clear, that's why it happened. That's why it's been allowed to happen. And shoot, if he just ended it all a lot sooner, I would have never reached the point where I have. So I have to be grateful for that. I don't have to, but my soul, my conscience, my nature says I have to. Like, I do, okay? I just do appreciate that. Yep. And figured that thing we're not supposed to talk about, you know? The children being born, they're nanobots put into parasites. Those can get in the body. Basically, I'm pretty sure my generation, Gen X, was like the last generation that has not been genetically modified. That's just... Our kids, I'm not saying that's it, Gen X, everything after that. But I'm saying, like, after that, it's fewer and fewer and fewer and fewer and fewer people that have, to the point that now, unless you're doing home birth and you don't ever go near a doctor, you're probably genetically modified in some way. So why now? Because this is how many generations it took for those aliens to convince the leaders, the governing forces behind our leaders. We know our leaders that we see are all just puppets, and the ones puppeting them are puppeted. So by the time it convinced all of them to genetically modify all of us, that's how long it took. So after this, they're just attaching AI and infecting it in everything, shooting us up with formaldehyde, so we're already half mummified corpses. The only thing left animating us is AI. Ooh. And of course, AI is just a channel for demonic entities. So that's creepy. That would be a zombie apocalypse. Demons inhabiting mummified bodies, turning on the very few that are left. Whoa. Like, that just hit my mind. Like, all of this is just hitting me. That's what it... Whoa. And I'm supposed to go to sleep. I don't think so. Alright, but I should probably end it here because otherwise it's just going to keep going and I'll be talking nonsense. Because now I just learned something new. That used to be just a movie, just a fairy tale, just folklore. Oh, the gifts of the Spirit, those cease. And so don't expect to have any of those. Yep, alright. It's real. It's freaking real. Don't pinch me, man. Because I'm positive that has to do with some demonic spirit, too. That's saying, and I'll probably have that thrown into my day. I'll be looking up the etymology of some word and it'll come up. Oh, this comes from that. And I'll be like, I used to like really enjoy playing on my drum. Now I'm looking at it like, did they carve it? Like, are these zigzags? Although it could be Paleo-Hebrew for the waters, the depths, oh God, the abyss. I just gotta, see, this is why nothing can save us. Nothing. No knowledge, no wisdom, nothing. Only Yahushua's sacrifice. I had pickles, they got stuck. Yes, I've had surgery to my esophagus, so things don't always go down or come up very easily. Yeah, that's it. Yahushua's sacrifice, that's the only thing saving us, because it's all over everything. But not everything, because the truth is coming out. Yes. There we go. Have fun with it.